the first Something Happened Somewhere Once podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Roya.
That's Roya. So we're going to be doing these on some kind of regular-ish basis, sporadically I'd say. First topic...
Bread.
So this began... Well, you explain how we got to this.
So I went to Sainsbury's to pick up some breakfast items, and I picked up a loaf of bread from the bakery at Sainsbury's.
The bakery.
And I was a bit disappointed, but I'm going to be more disappointed now if this loaf of bread isn't as shit as the one that I bought that day.
With the remnants of which are here. This is the sort of the.
It had a very, very hard outer shell.
Of the bread.
Like you could use it as a weapon.
I always did. The baker.
And then I cut into it, and inside it was just a hollow.
It was. There was a
there was a doughy exterior between the very outer crust.
Yeah, and it was like some sort of tiny miners had built just dug a mine at sort of through a third of the loaf. And as he was sawing it, it was
receding.
Yeah, it was sawdust all over my kitchen.
We need to move the cheese.
Move the cheese?
Because I'm going to experiment on this bread and see if it's as bad as the previous.
Right, so let's have a look to see if this is the...
This is a real article.
It is. Maybe give it a knock first, you know.
It sounds good.
Which end do you reckon?
I'll trust you.
I reckon go that end. Go that end. You discovered the first one.
We've got that. Right. Oh shit. Moment of truth.
Hold on.
Oh, no, do you know what?
Yeah, what?
This one's
they've
good.
nailed it. They've nailed it. Oh, it's Sainsbury's.
I am disappointed.
Wait, Sainsbury's, you've nailed it so far. So far. Let's have the other end off, I say.
Right, go. You do the honours. On camera. Maybe it's camera shy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's just camera proud. Maybe the first one was just the understudy. It is a lot like...
It's a lot like a loaf of bread.
Sawing wood, though. I've sawed wood before, and that's a lot like it. But no, they've managed this time to make all of the inside filled with bread.
Yeah. Can I demonstrate what it was like before?
Build a representation of what it was like before. It was essentially like
that was how the bread was.
Yeah, that's your crime watch reconstruction of the situation at hand.
I've got this now.
What do you want to do with it? Is the inside better than the outside? The inside of the last one as well.
It needs to be toasted.
Okay, so still unfinished then.
It's not like a new loaf of bread, but at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. You should be able to eat that just as it is.
Baked at 5 to 2.
but was it?
Well, this is it.
You revealed to me.
Yeah, I revealed...
The dark secret of supermarket bakeries.
The supermarket bakeries are, by and large, centralised units, and what becomes this is made in an area elsewhere and delivered to the local baker, put in an oven, and then it expands to varying degrees depending on the dough and the hotness of the oven, etc. Which proper bakers would, I guess, know how to counteract in the process. I
was disappointed because, in my naivety, I thought that in the supermarket bakery, the entire baking was done.
I mean, there are uses for it. I see no ships, only old ships. No, it's great.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
So...
There are better supermarket bakeries, and so I question... Lidl do really good bread.
Lidl do really good bread.
I wondered if they maybe just really bake it all themselves. Because it's better than... I don't generally shop at Sainsbury's because it's overpriced and there's nothing there.
It's not something that can be eaten by a thinking person.
It's just on my walk to Joe's. On the way to an Icebridge.
We won't say which Sainsbury's, but it's near.
Well, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Because it all gets sent in.
And that's the key reason, I guess, or their thinking behind this, is standardisation across the board. Making sure every loaf of bread that goes out of every Sainsbury's across the country is as bad as the rest.
Yeah.
And it's not inedible, but it's better as like
a joke.
No, I actually think art supplies, from what I'm
you've
experiencing
made
right now.
that really good.
Yeah, like I'm thinking...
you can have 2 of them.
Now I'm thinking model train set, and you've got fucking... through the hill. You know, like the train tracks go through the hill.
Or it could be like in those like weird photography things that you get at like weddings and stuff. It's like, hello.
Oh, like what? Like a camera with you with the thing over the yeah. Put some gunpowder. We've got some gunpowder. That'll be another episode. We'll do a gunpowder another day. Gunpowder will be next semester.
We're teaching you well.
So like I came to christen this because of its woody qualities. it's now christened MDF, which is medium density fibre bread. And yeah, it's probably one of my new favourite bits of plasticine.
Well, your revelation about bakeries answered a really strange question for me. Because a couple of years ago I was in Leeds train station in Upper Crust. I've remembered the name of the
Upper
place.
Crust.
Where I purchased a baguette, a filled baguette, like fairly nice for like waiting for the train.
Whatever. Yeah.
But I couldn't help but laugh at the sign because it said, all our baguettes are from France. So that was they were boasting about that. And then it also said, freshly baked in our kitchen this morning. I mean, their kitchen clearly is in the centre of Leeds. And I was like, what are you trying to say here, mate? Like, all it said to me is like, this is a pile of shit. But they were trying to claim some kind of like classy value, and I was baffled. But like that makes sense. So the dough comes from France,
which is interesting that they just kind of like came out with it and turned it into some kind of like 2-pronged marketing attack where they're trying to be like locally sourced and exotic.
2-pronged marketing.
Like very much like a cheese knife. The 2-pronged attack is what it's all about.
I raise you my 1-pronged attack.
The cheese knife is a pretty mighty weapon.
The cheese is good. From Tiger Wines.
Cheese is from Tiger Wines in Woodhouse, and he does cheese called Peaky Blinders cheese, which I never watched the series or whatever, but it tastes like Birmingham in a good way.
It's really good cheese from an offie.
It is really good cheese.
And he's really nice.
He's really nice.
We should do a shout out about the bottle opener and cheese boards at this moment, I feel, before we forget.
Yeah, that's true. So the cheese board and this mighty bottle opener made by a mate Dave from York, who owns a ace company called Homewood Creative. So have a look, because they make wicked looking shit like this.
That deserves better bread.
Yeah, it deserves far better bread, but is definitely complemented by JP Ryan's awesome Peaky Blinders cheese.
Yes, yeah. So the cheese has made it.
The cheese
I finished off the previous loaf of bread just because of that cheese.
Exactly. I think Mr. Ryan should take his cheese to Sainsbury's and sell it to them. I'm now assuming that he makes it.
It's too good.
I'm assuming Mr. Ryan has a cheesery in his shop in Woodhouse. The butter was also supplied by Mr. Ryan's dairy. Just in a layer pack pouch. I don't know where this one's going to go.
Put it on that, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Other interesting things about bread that we discussed prior to deciding to do our first podcast about bread. It's interesting the colloquialisms about bread.
People get angry about that.
Like so we live in a globalised world, and like all over the world a selfie is a selfie, which apparently the French get quite angry about. But you go 30 miles south and a type of bread is called a different thing. So you've got bread cakes, baps, rolls, barn cakes, bars. Like and people either laugh at each other or get very angry about these descriptions of bread, and that's an interesting thing.
Like the pronunciation of scone and scone.
Yeah.
Which I looked into and has actually no regional origin.
And also
various places
a bread-based argument. Also a bread-based argument.
Also bacon. Bacon causes a lot of fucking arguments.
It does. But it's interesting that happens.
Yeah, it is, and what you kind of notice with it is some of it has sense, like, I don't know if I'm right, I'm fairly sure I'm right, I think a stotty is actually a particular type of bread loaf or bun.
Right.
That's actually a certain shape and made in a particular way.
Right.
Like a bottom.
Are they like a bigger one?
Yeah, it's a big, like, I think they're like a big fat
And I can see one in my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're one of them bottom of the oven things.
Yeah.
It's just like the last of the dough, they just mash it all together and make a great big burger bun out of it. If they have a huge burger.
They've usually done better than that.
They've done better than that, but I'm also not sure how they'd fare as a tunnel for a train set.
Terribly. I mean, it's flat.
Exactly. So, you know, sometimes Starters win, sometimes shit Sainsbury's bread wins. And, like, just by a comparison, and this is not to fucking plug any supermarket, because technically speaking, supermarkets are all evil and shit. But some are better than others, and Waitrose is pretty decent when it comes to produce. Waitrose Wholemeal Farmhouse. Medium.
Medium size?
I don't know, according to who's...
It's psychic.
Like, is it, do you reckon there's like a global sort of body, a governing body, like an ombudsman, the bread ombudsman, who's like...
Oh, the centimetres of a slice?
Yeah, that's not medium. That's not even nearly medium. Anyways, this bread, still good. Have a sniff. Cool.
Oh, it's like Nisa Today's bread is the worst for that. Like, it's stale as soon as you buy it.
And the best thing about this is that it's beyond its sell-by date by an amount of days. That's my juice sticker. Oh, it's always on this bit. 9th of December, 9th.
Is the 11th today?
11th today. I've gone through half of it because I'm eating a lot of bread because I'm at skin at the minute. But it's perfect and there's no mould on it. It's not. It's
not even stale.
It's not stale and there's no mould in it, which goes to show, just don't ignore, just don't listen too much to fucking best befores and sell by dates, just have a look at it and
just give it a touch.
It probably won't poison you at all.
Definitely won't, not unless there's like blue shit on it.
Trust your nose, man.
Yeah, bit of eating.
It's
like a short eating break. This is a really old one, isn't it?
So I think we should at this point kind of talk a little bit about something happened somewhere once and I guess what we've been doing, where it came from.
We should.
I think that's a superb idea.
Yeah, we can return to bread later because I've got a little bread anecdote for the end.
Excellent.
But do you want to tell everyone about ShSo?
I can begin, I guess, by...
starting at the very beginning.
I can begin by starting it, it's a good idea. And it was a good idea, and the idea initially came from the other ShSo founder and our other mate who's not here tonight, Lee, who on Instagram is Mr. Maskell, M-A-S-C-A-L-L. And he's a wicked illustrator, and he and I have been mates for years, and he was saying to me rather, back in February, I think, just about an idea he was having of a thing. He didn't say it was a social media thing or whatever, just like a website or something where we could just collate what we kind of eventually called narrative art. So anything that kind of tells a story. We initially thought like illustrated stories with writing at first, with maybe some graphic novel stuff, because that's what he and I kind of do together sometimes. But then we extended that into like single art pieces and stuff that, you know, you can look at and sort of get a story out of all of those things in some way. So that was when, during the conversation, and we were saying, you know, obviously it's a thing, we've got to name it. And I thought of a name that Roya wasn't even a name, it was just something that she said sometimes that she came up with, which was something happened somewhere once. And I, at this point, didn't know that Roya would come up with this. I wasn't sure. I thought.
Well, you asked me, didn't you?
Yeah. So I sent her a message.
Story ever told.
Yeah, it beats Hemingway by 2 words, man, and it's probably better as well. And yeah, so I messaged Roya and asked her if she'd come up with it. She said yes, and then told her about the
idea.
Yeah, the bare bones of the idea, really.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'd be on board with that if that would be alright.
Yeah, 100%. So then, obviously Roya's a web developer in her other life, and she built the website. Lee did the illustrations for the logo. I did graphic design from that, and then
we all made lots of things. We all like like me and Joe both produce artwork and music and write.
Yeah.
And Lee's an amazing illustrator. So
Yeah.
we've all added content to the site.
And then just friends and people we know as well. Brown Laser.
And people we don't know, which has been wonderful.
And people
like,
we don't know.
Like people from the other side of the world.
Exactly. So like, it obviously always starts out like who do you know in your immediate circle of friends, and we reached out to those people. Brown Laser was one originally, wasn't he?
Yeah, excellent.
Absolutely brilliant dude who's from the same place as us now, a great tattooist in Nottingham. So yeah, got a little bunch of stuff together.
Started the Instagram. Reached out to a few people, and some people reached out to us.
Yeah, which was awesome amazing. As well. That was amazing. And then like little by little, like Noosh Nasheen, she's a brilliant like illustrator as well. Got her on board, and then kind of started reaching out. The first person we messaged was Ruth Stoltenberg, wasn't it?
Yeah, like amazing art photographer.
Amazing photographer, and just it seems like a lovely person. We've not met in person yet. Hello, Ruth. And Ruth did a project during lockdown this year. Because obviously she couldn't really go out and take pictures of the world around her as much as she'd like to. She went back through her archives of photos of various buildings, cut them out in a particular way, and folded them so as to make them sort of look 3D and stand up. Then photographed them in various places in her garden and around the outside with a glass bowl over the top, like a mixing bowl.
So they look a bit like snow globes.
Yeah, so they're like snow globes, and obviously the visual metaphor is of the bubble that we all ended up having to live in for most of this year. And when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, that's like the perfect.
It's very poignant, and it also looks brilliant.
Yeah, and it was one of those things to me that like everyone, or a lot of people try to speak for everyone when they do these projects in a way that like I sometimes think doesn't. It maybe goes too into the specifics of how people are feeling. I think
if you just speak for yourself, then you kind of naturally speak for everyone.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
That seems to be more. That seems to be what I take from there.
And it's very broad. It was very like there were no attempts to sort of speak really to the individual things that she was going through. She literally just said, "We're all trapped in this." Done.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful and so like all encompassing.
Yeah.
To me, and that was the best thing about it. So yeah, we messaged Ruth and she happily said that we could share her series called Isolation. So that's on the website, which is shso.uk. And then it kind of snowballed from there. We got one of my favourite artists who I've followed for a number of years now, David Helwer, the guy in the library. Beautiful illustrations, and very, very deep and personal as well. He's an illustrator from Kansas who just...
He makes like comic art about a lot of his sort of like teenage
experiences
about
his life.
And
kind of like journal entries. They're like illustrated journal entries, aren't they? And really, really deep, but not in a sort of highbrow way. Just really just natural and, you know...
Yeah, it's
open. I think really, really open and honest. So definitely check out the guy in the library. He's on WordPress, so you'll be able to find him on there as well as on ShSo. What have your favourite or a few noteworthy things been?
Dawn Hurton, the puppet artist.
She's
amazing. I'm not as articulate as you, so I think you should probably...
Dawn Hurton. Dawn is from Cumbria, I think Penrith. And Dawn has done a project called Beneath the Beacon. So Beneath the Beacon is a project where Dawn basically makes puppets, and some of them automata,
I think.
Basically... mechanical moving puppets, and they're all like real life historical figures from around a building called the Beacon. I'm totally doing this from memory, so I might be getting some of the details slightly vague. But yeah, they're just people who've lived during the last
like sort of 100 years.
A few hundred, well, more. I think she goes back further as well, but noteworthy figures. I think the latest one was an artist called Lorna Graves, who was a ceramicist, and did, I think it's Reiku, R-A-K-U, a Japanese form of pottery. Really sort of simplified, almost bordering on abstract, but the
very beautiful,
yeah, just really simple little scenes from the world around her. So definitely check out Dawn Hurton. Yeah, really incredible artist. So yeah, we've been lucky with it really.
Odious illustration.
Odious is brilliant.
Yeah, we just found him on Instagram. And yeah, it's
absolutely amazing. And Scapper Joe as well. Scapper Joe is fantastic. 3D print. Sunken Monuments is one of them, where it's the places like Blackpool Tower and the Eiffel Tower and what have you, but in however many years it'll take for humanity to sink ourselves. Yeah, so they're all like semi-underwater and mashed, which is brilliant. The Angel of the North one was ace, usually with a number of seals or an orca swimming about. Absolutely right up my street, I loved it.
Matty Robinson as well.
Matt Robinson is brilliant.
Abstract expressionism. Like just really, really good, beautiful painting.
Very Mighty Boosh as well in a lot of ways. There's like the illustrations that like Noel Fielding did for that.
It is a bit like Noel Fielding's illustrations. I mean? I'd say I prefer Matty Robinson's illustrations, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got a book of Noel Fielding's artwork.
They're a different thing, aren't they? Noel Fielding's a very much more rough doodly stuff, whereas Matt's refined.
Yeah, it's like there's a like nod to like Basquiat.
100%. It's like a refined version of that sort of gonzo doodling. Like we've like taken it to the nth degree, and I like.
It's definitely its own thing. Like it's got his own style, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, 100%. And I like the way he brings in other elements, like there'll just be like a light switch in the middle of the painting, all painted up, or the frame will be broken and there's something else underneath. And
he did one. It was on some broken glass.
Yeah, it's excellent. And there's a sort of an anarchic quality to it, which is what I really appreciate. Yeah.
That's a true artist as well. You just paint on anything.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're done with an old thing and you don't like it anymore or whatever, you just like, fuck it, I'll paint over it again. Have the lighter. Yeah, it's been superb. So that's where we're at the minute with ShSo. It's all been images and a few short stories. What we're planning on doing in the future, in this coming year, is filling up, I guess, YouTube channels the next thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to do some animations,
yeah. And I guess what I always envisaged with it was that it being a multimedia thing, and that every story can be told in whatever the best way is to tell that story, because I don't think there is a best medium. I don't think books are better than films, are better than
it depends what appeals to the individual person as well.
Yeah, what works for the piece.
Some people might not particularly like to read, but they might like enjoy watching something or just like looking at a series of images.
Yeah.
Like so, it's like across the board, it can appeal to everyone, whatever fits that piece, as you say. Like,
exactly. How many people know the story fairly intricately of War of the Worlds because of Jeff Wayne? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, without the films, being involved, like, if you listen to the full Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, you've got the full story of War of the Worlds, and it's absolutely mint. Read the book, because it's also great, and watch all the films, because they're variously great. But, that's the point. You can tell a story in numerous ways, and that's what we're trying to explore, I think, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I reckon your bread anecdote.
I'll tell the story of bread. Being a cake. This is it was my friend A.D. Robinson, twisted genius from back home, who told me that bread is in fact a cake, and this is his reasoning why.
Okay.
So way back when, Jaffa cakes were defined as a biscuit, and for tax reasons they appealed against this and wanted to be a cake, which they won this in a court of law,
Mm-hmm.
and they won it because although they were little biscuit-sized things.
McVitie's?
I've got no idea, mate. Like, I mean, McVitie's make biscuits, don't they?
Yeah,
but the reason why Jaffa Cakes are a cake is because a cake is a doughy thing and it's soft. And a biscuit is also baked, but it's hard. And when a biscuit goes stale, it goes soft. And a cake is like a soft doughy thing. And when it goes stale, it goes hard.
Yeah.
And
so bread cake is right.
So it is right, exactly. And I mean, it's just a cake. Because as AD pointed out, so bread has the consistency of a cake, and
it does.
And when it goes stale, like it is like
hence croutons,
like sawdust. Yeah.
So croutons are just hard cakes.
Yeah. Basically, well, what's a cheesecake? What's a cheesecake base? That's a biscuit base.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, the world's confusing. It's like the moral in all of this.
Language is confusing. Language is interesting. So I'm studying creative writing at Leeds Arts University, and obviously we look at language and the way it's used. And one of my things I always think about is like how variously limited languages are. All languages, I think, are limited to some degree because there's always got to be emotions and feelings because emotions are more primal and older than language that language can't describe.
Yeah.
But then you look within different languages and one language will have several words for a thing that another language has one word for, and that really limits.
Yeah, and some languages have got a word for something that other languages have got no word for.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't put everything in a box.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So yeah, I really find it interesting to explore our limitations, I suppose, within that. It's part of the human condition, I guess, as well, and that's why non-verbal and non-literary works of art have always existed. From before writing existed, there was art, there was visual art. So it is the oldest form of telling a story, isn't it? Is fucking cave paintings and all of that. But yeah, it's still a bread cake, I guess. Which I'll have to tell my dad with some, I guess, dismay. Maybe he might feel dismayed because, as all good Grimbarians and people sort of who were born and raised around Grimsby and Cleethorpes area, we're kind of all by and large raised and taught to have at least a sort of healthy mistrust of people from Yorkshire. And now I when I was a kid growing up, I never took any of these kind of things like really, really seriously, but I always kind of felt that he for all of Yorkshire, but I feel it was actually South Yorkshire, having moved to West Yorkshire. But that's a different thing. I don't want to demonise anyone. I don't want to demonise. I do love all of these areas, to be fair. But these things also amuse me, and I'll have to tell my dad that the Yorkies have won this one.
Yeah, bread is a cake.
Bread is a cake. Yeah, it is a bread cake. Fucking.
That is not a cake. That's a fucking slab of wood.
Well, yeah, yeah. Sainsbury's bread is excluded from all of what I've just said. We're talking, bread made the way it should be made. Jewellery, but yeah, like congratulations to Sainsbury's for probably making the most diverse loaf that really I've ever come across. And that, I guess,
that concludes.
Is that?
Yeah.
So we've been.
Thank you if you've put up with all of this.
Yeah, you've done better than we have because I fucked off ages ago. So I guess we'll see you on the next one.